Good afternoon. As many of you know, the Alliance for Better Contextual Behavioral Science was established following the clarification meetings of 2023, after it became apparent that the contextual distinction between optimally and maximally context-sensitive behavioral repertoires could no longer be accommodated within the existing organizational framework. While we continue to enjoy productive collaboration with our colleagues in the association, we believe our revised approach represents a modest but important improvement. Today, I would like to present the findings of our latest investigation into recursive rule-governed behavior. As behavior analysts, we have long recognized that behavior may come under instructional rather than direct contingency control. However, relatively little research has examined the functional properties of rules governing compliance with instructions not to comply with instructions. To address this important gap in the literature, participants were presented with the following instruction. Do not follow this instruction unless following this instruction functions as an example of not following instructions. Participants were given no further clarification. Clarification, as many of you know, would have constituted an additional instruction. Following pilot work, it became apparent that participants were engaging in substantial instructional side-following, together with intermittent rule-governed oscillation and occasional reciprocal compliance inversion. To minimize these effects, a revised protocol was introduced incorporating recursive rule calibration together with automatic contingency-sensitive compliance bearings. Participants were then instructed not to follow the revised protocol. Unless, of course, following the revised protocol functioned as an instance of appropriately not following the revised protocol. Data collection proceeded smoothly. Although several participants requested clarification, these requests were themselves interpreted as rule-governed behavior and therefore constituted additional data. One participant attempted to refuse participation. This refusal was classified as successful compliance. Another participant enthusiastically complied with every instruction while insisting they were deliberately doing the opposite. This was scored as partial compliance. One participant repeatedly asked whether asking questions counted as following instructions. The Ethics Committee is still discussing this. Perhaps the most interesting finding emerged during the debriefing procedure. Participants were instructed that the experiment had now concluded. Unexpectedly, 14% declined to believe the debriefing because doing so would have required following an instruction. 3 participants refused to leave the laboratory on methodological grounds. Our primary outcome measure was instructional compliance. As predicted, overall compliance reached 103%. This exceeded both theoretical expectations and available statistical categories. The additional 3% appeared to result from participants following instructions they inferred we would have issued under hypothetical contextual conditions that never actually occurred. Subsequent analysis suggested these represented instances of derived instructional compliance rather than measurement error. These findings have important implications for our understanding of recursive, rule-governed behavior. Specifically, they demonstrate that participants can successfully comply with instructions not to comply with instructions, while simultaneously failing to comply in ways that remain functionally consistent with higher-order compliance. Future work will examine whether participants can be instructed not to follow instructions concerning instructions not to follow instructions before those instructions have been presented. Funding has already been approved. Thank you.